And we are live.
Acting foolish, overdressed, confusing the crowd. You won't see me at this bar again. Happy hour, habit stars, my feet on the ground. Whiskey 7 on my cardigan. Last night, ain't in my...
Coming to you live from the great state of Wisconsin is the Overdue Sports Team. I am your host, Will Massa. To my right, as always, Jake Sawinski. How we doing, brother? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm alive. I still have like the sandbags. Had a little too much fun at in Nashville. Was out of town for a bachelor party. Great time. Glad to be home though. But how goes the cold weather? I got a break from that.
Yeah, you lucked out getting out of here for a couple days.
Yeah, I
Can't
saw
lie.
some snow. I saw some snow. That's tough.
How's your week been? Good week, bad week, up and down?
It was kind of up and down. I mean, ironically or not so ironically, the travel day, travel days always suck. Well, I didn't hit a bet on a travel day, so it just like made it way worse, like really got hit by an airplane. A little hungover on the plane, but I defiled myself enough. So I mean, I was fully expecting that. The not hitting a bet wasn't exactly fun. I will say that. But you travel a lot for work.
I
How
do.
awesome is using a real sports book, like a
It's
legal sports
amazing.
book?
And most of the places that I go allow it. So like my trips in the past year have been California, Nashville, and Vegas, and then I'll be in Boston in the summer. It's
Massachusetts
so
has it
great.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, and I just and I'm from Colorado, and so I've
legal.
had a
Yeah.
FanDuel account, and so like when I
hmm
go home, I always use it. So there's always money in it. So I just like use it whenever I travel. It's great.
Yeah. What's your favorite one?
I use FanDuel. I actually have never used another one. It was one of the first that came out like when it got legalized, and so it was kind of just the first one that I jumped on.
hmm
Um, I've heard good things about DraftKings. I mean, like
Yeah, that's the one I
I
use. I really
is
like
it? Yeah.
DraftKings. Yeah, I like that one. But like the Friday beers guy they have a bar down there called Almost Fridays. They were doing a promotion with BetMGM, so I lost $25 on Yale plus 5.5. They got absolutely trucked, but this was a $25 hat. I got the hat for free, so I don't remember what it
Worth
was,
it.
like $40. So yeah, I guess I came out 15 ahead. But yeah, the bets were okay. It was mostly college basketball for us. I mean, I did a little bit of hockey. Um, what was I gonna say? Wednesday was pretty good, like NIT stuff. Like the tournament hadn't started yet. Like the first four game, I was like, I don't know. I don't know how much of the betting you did. You have a little story for that after I'm done talking. But yeah, it was a little up and down. I was bad. I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday. Saturday I was pretty bad, but I got most of it back. And then I th- I was up on the trip gambling wise. Everything else no. Morale low, bank account low, everything else low. But it was a good time for sure. Um, yeah, I was just super fascinated with the legal books. Like, I'll be up toward where my job is, where I grew up. I'm like 20 minutes from Michigan, and where I work, it's across the Menominee River. So lunch break or after work, I will 100% be placing a few more bets on DraftKings, and hopefully I can utilize that a little more because the legal experience is much better than the offshore
So
one.
much easier. So much easier. Yeah,
Um,
well,
yeah, tell your
I'll
story.
share my
It's kind of
woes.
funny. Yeah.
I'll keep beating the dead horse, but leave it short. Like I've not been good, and this stretch has been like pretty significant amount of time. But I was off for about I don't know. I was out of the game for a good week in there, which was
At
like fine
least,
for
yeah.
for my morale because it was all time low.
Mhm.
Um, my book basically shut down like without notice. The offshore that I was on. And so I was kind of on the scramble for like the last week to get on a new one. Um, and Jake helped me out with that. Since entering that one, it has been I'll call it a sandwich because I hit the first bet on the new one and I hit my most recent one, and then everything in between has been a loss. And granted, this is over like 4 days. And I got wiped over the weekend. I got pounded during the week. New Mexico -2 was just horrendous. Like Clemson just beat the brakes off of them. Wisconsin against James Madison was maybe the ugliest basketball I've ever watched in my entire life.
No, it was bad. I was pretty disappointed. We were at Kid
I was
Rocks.
very
Everyone was
disappointed.
very sad in that bar. Yeah.
And it was weird. It was a weird game too. Like I was texting some buddies of mine. Like AJ Storr was like broken. I was like, he looked like me out there. I was like, he was taking 15-foot bunnies off the top of the backboard. I was like, that's a shot that like I take in men's league.
Yeah.
Like
they looked
ugly.
they looked not ready to play. Their defense wasn't great. But I mean, I think this is one of the weaker defenses Greg Gard's had. Like, I mean, it's obviously a point of emphasis, right? Because like it's the best offensive team they've had since he's been there. He's been there 10 years now, almost 8, I think. But I mean, me just watching, they didn't look ready to play.
No, they had 10 turnovers in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think that was just as much on the coaching as it was on the playing because that game plan was not good. And James Madison's good, but like they got dismantled by Duke. Like that game wasn't close. That was the easiest bet I hit of the weekend. Duke -6.5. Yeah, that was. They weren't ready to play.
No, not at all.
Any other closing? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean.
I also bricked out on Drake -1 against Washington State, which I almost flipped on that one, and I just let it ride. I'm not upset about that one. It was a good game. And then I fell for the trap, and the Cinderella got me. Stupid NC State pounded Texas Tech in that first game.
Yeah, I was on Texas Tech, so was Paul, but all the other guys were on NC State. They were giving him a lot of shit for it, not me, because I wasn't really running my mouth about it. I liked Texas Tech just because, like,
I did too.
I liked them, but like I played them. I was like, yeah, I'm on Texas Tech. I mean, I think fading them in that spot was super obvious, but they were giving him shit, and I was kind of like, oh well, whatever.
I did hit Oregon. South Carolina.
I want to get into the not every game, just because some of them were lackluster. Yeah, literally millions. But do you have any other closing thoughts on your week outside of with your bookmaking stuff, more of the logistics?
No, it was so stupid. It was just so stupid. But I'm back.
Okay, yeah.
I hit the Bruins last night, so morale is going.
Yeah, that was good.
All of my leans hit. Like
That's
I like
good.
the Penguins last night, and that hit. Like I'm starting to see the board a little bit better. So hopefully this is the tides turning.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a recap of the last 2 weeks of hockey plays because I have not been tweeting them out. When I stopped, I wasn't very good, but I never stopped betting the games, and I've been pretty good the last couple of last 2 weeks. So sometime today I'll recap the last 15, 20 probably, see how it is, and then I'll get back to releasing them again because I bricked out. I did a 2-unit play on the Kings over Monday night just because the first game stayed under, and I always have this theory where there's a 2-game slate, one does one thing, the opposite game does the other thing. Well, the favorite and the dog won, but both the unders hit, so I missed out on that one. But last night I hit the Devils money line. It was kind of a roller coaster for the first period and a half, and then the Devils kind of put the clamps on. And then I bet the under in Edmonton and Hellebuck. And I'm not too mad about losing that one because my Sergei Bobrovsky future needs a little bit of help since he's forgotten how to play goaltender in the last 2 weeks.
Dude, did you catch any of that game last night with the Bruins?
No, I saw the Panthers were winning 3-2, and then all of a sudden they lost 4-3. I'm like, what the hell?
He coughed up 2 in the third, late. They tied it on a power play with first of all, that game was super sloppy. There was 40 combined penalty minutes. The Bruins punched in 2
physical teams, yeah.
And
it's it just seems like the last 2 weeks, maybe a little less than 2 weeks, but the last 6-7 games, it's every win they've had has been when Stolars has been playing goalie, not Bobrovsky, so that's not good for me. But Hellebuck hasn't been great either. And it seems like Winnipeg's been in the same boat. Like their backup goalie has been the one getting the wins, not Hellebuck as much. So right now, Bobrovsky's like plus 600. So that's kind of went the wrong way in the last 2 weeks. But like I said, Bob's been really bad. But hopefully he can get a couple more good starts in there before the end of the season, because there's only like 7 or 8 games left for most of the teams.
Yeah.
Red Wings are scaring me too. They don't look very good.
Speaking of the book thing, back to the book thing. The one good thing that came of it is that since it happened before the NHL season ended, my Senators future got voided. So that like maybe the worst future of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I had a good chunk on that. I think I had 4 units on it. So
it's just voided. Okay, so hey, you can just delete that from the sports book or from your Action Network. Yeah,
I know I put it out, but it might as well have never happened. So
yeah, that's good. You do realize that win total's not hitting, but they're gonna win like every game. Like of course when they're like eliminated from playoffs.
I'm probably gonna bet them tonight.
I did already. I bet.
Oh, did you? I was looking at it too.
I bet on 1.5 too.
Yeah.
I like the Lightning tonight.
Yep, I do too.
Don't love them, but I like them. Yeah. But the one thing I will say about our offshore book now that we're book brothers, I like the credit system. I like how it's just like, you pay in at the end of the week or pay up at the end of the week, or you get paid out at the end of the week.
That's how my old one was too. I like it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice not needing to deposit when you're
funded all. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're really bad, it gets frustrating because you're just paying out every week. But let's get into the March Madness stuff. But I don't know about you, but I watch just about every game for the most part. Like we missed a little bit of the Michigan State Mississippi State game, but for the most part, we saw pretty much every game. If not all of it, bits and pieces. The round of 64 games were awesome. Like just about every game was pretty good. Like betting implications, it seemed like all the spreads were tight, like on those big ones. But then the round of 32 games were very, very disappointing for the most part. Like the Creighton-Oregon game was like a really good nightcap for, was that Sunday night? Saturday night? I don't remember what night that was. But a lot of the games were really disappointing. I don't know if you got the same vibe or not sure how you felt about them.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the tournament, which I hate, first of all. I'm sure
yeah. I mean,
I hate when people complain about the tournament. I do agree though, like it's seemed like chalky for the most part. And to be fair, like we kind of talked about this before the tournament started. Like last year was so chaotic. Like it felt like this one was going to be a little bit more chalky, but there were some disappointing games like Purdue and Utah State, like was not fun to watch. Like Duke and James Madison was not fun to watch.
Kansas Gonzaga was probably the worst one too. Cause I mean like with Purdue and Utah State, like I think our buddies and I talked about it a lot too, but you and I did as well. Utah State needs to hit shots, right? Yeah. They didn't hit any. And like everyone was just, it seemed to me like everybody was just waiting for Purdue to, how are they going to lose? And like we said, it's not happening. They've got a cakewalk to the Final Four pretty much, I think. Who they got?
There were some good ones in there though. Like Buffs and Marquette was a great game.
That game was, the Colorado and Florida was good too.
That was awesome,
I'm not suggesting like half the games were bad. It just seemed like Saturday, like the round of 32 games got off to a really bad start.
Yeah.
Like Sunday they were better for sure.
Yeah, Sunday was a good,
Well, sort of. Like the games were either really good or really bad. Like in the round of 32, it seemed like the round of 64 games, like if there was any chance that the lower seed had a chance to win, like the game was good. Like the 1 seed, I bet on every 1 seed game this year, which is something I usually don't do. I think I went like 2-2 or 1-3. Like Wagner, I got hooked on. Grambling, I got hooked on, but then I hit UConn. So it was like some of that was I'm not like saying, oh, I'm disappointed because my bet hit, but like some of the games like were not good. Like it just seemed like the round of 32 games. Like Yale had that crazy win against Auburn, and then they looked horrible against San Diego State,
They look really
as
bad.
expected.
Yeah.
But like that, they were not good. The two night games though, like were probably two of the best in the tournament. Like that Oregon Creighton game was awesome. We were all on
Mhm.
Creighton, and that
Houston and
was a
A&M was
crazy. That
crazy
game was
game,
electric too. We were all on A&M. That game was awesome. But yeah, like the day games were a little disappointing on that Friday or on that Saturday, I should say. But all in all, it was kind of chaotic still. Like in that first round, like the chalk kind of evened out in the round of 32, hence probably why the games were so bad. But Duquesne beating BYU was pretty cool. I was right on Michigan State, and I think I changed it in my bracket, which was really stupid because like I was like that. I like Michigan State.
Yeah.
Square as it may have been, like Mississippi State looked horrible from what I could tell. Morehead State, Illinois. That game was kind of a clunker, but Morehead State played in the first half a little bit. Duquesne got blitzed in the second.
Yeah, they did.
The second game hit the over though. I laddered that over, missed the alt over, but TCU and Utah State. Like I had some good bets, not a ton of bad ones. Like a lot of them were close. I think like where I was the most disappointed were like games that I missed out on. Like I liked Clemson against Baylor, and I just didn't do it. But I do want to highlight the 5-12s, wasn't it? Like it was 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think the 14-3s was 1-3, right? I think Oakland was the only 14 seed that won.
Oakland, yeah.
Oh, and I was the dummy who drunkenly tweeted out like maybe Coach Cal should hang him up. I got an LOL out of somebody, but that guy who responded's wrong. Like, when's the last time Cal's given a fuck about like winning a tournament game? Like, it's all about NBA talent with him. Like, he's good for the players. He's not good for the school.
Yeah, speaking
It's
of
true.
coaches,
Sorry.
though, like Guard.
Dusty May. Oh, Greg Guard.
Is it his time?
It might be.
I think guys are going to bounce. Like Asijan already said he already entered the portal. Who didn't see a lick in that James Madison game, which I thought was stupid because everybody was shooting the ball horribly and he never saw the court.
Yeah. But I mean, does he give you that much besides the shooting the threes anyways?
No. I'm not saying he's like he's a good role player. He's good at what he does.
No, that's the problem with Wisconsin. They're all role players, except this was the first year you had like Johnny Davis was really good, right? But like his efficiency, you know how you say off the charts? His efficiency was on the charts, like very, very on the charts. Guy'd shoot 35% for a season. And he gets like, you know what I mean? Like he just chucked it up. But this was offensively the most talented team they've had, and yeah, you kind of just saw the defense go by the wayside for them. Like I don't think they would move on from him. Like that was unusual, them not being prepared, because I'm convinced that's what it was. It wasn't like a talent thing. They were just not prepared to play that game. The game plan was bad. The prep was bad. Everything about like the off the court stuff was bad. Like
they looked
until it started.
At the pressure that JMU brought.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looked like they had never played like an intense defense before.
Yeah,
so weird.
Like James Madison's good. They were criminally underseeded. You know what I mean? Like that they should have been a 10 seed. They're better than all the 11 seeds were the bid stealers. Like New Mexico is a bid stealer, Oregon was a bid stealer, Duquesne was a bid stealer, and who's the other 11 seed? UAB was a 12.
In the bottom right, who is it in the Midwest bracket? Colorado was the 10.
They were the 10.
Who was it? I have no idea.
Yeah,
it wasn't NC State. NC State was an 11.
NC State, Oregon, New Mexico, and Duquesne. Yeah, that was the one I was missing.
Okay,
NC State. Those were all the bid stealers, right? And that's kind of just where they got placed for the most part. But like NC State should have probably been a 12 seed, and James Madison should have been an 11 seed if you were to ask me. But regardless, that team was much better than the 12 seed. Like they kind of got gypped a little bit, but Wisconsin just was, that game plan was bad. And I mean, you're gonna fire him after this year? Probably not. I mean,
Yeah,
if it was
that's correct.
the same thing next year, I think you'd think about it. But then again, I wouldn't be shocked if they moved in a different direction either, just because, like I said, the game plan was horrible. Those guys were not ready to play, and I mean, it was too little, too late. But then again, it's like that group. I don't think was like it's the most talented offensive group they've had since Greg Gard's been there. But like, is that really saying that much? They weren't that good offensively. They were efficient.
They were efficient, yeah.
They were efficient as a group, but do you really have any star power there? Probably
Outside
not.
of Store, no.
Like AJ Store's testing the draft. Like he's gonna be back in school. I think. I don't think his stock.
You think he's going to come back to Wisconsin? I
don't know if he's going to come back to
bounce.
Wisconsin. He might leave Wisconsin.
Think he's going to bounce.
Yeah, I would think so too. I think he's talented, and I think he could do better elsewhere probably. But I think you're going to see Greg Gard kind of go back to the old school of better defensive team next year because. I mean, they had flashes where, like, hey, like, we look really good. Like, we're ranked 6th in the country, and then you get into your conference play, and, like, you got to be able to do both, right? Like, why do you think Creighton's so good? Because they do both. Why is UConn so good? They do both. Like, UConn's, like, the model for that team, or, like, for, like, you know, a championship caliber team, right? UConn, no player on that team is overly talented on offense. Like last year's team was way more talented than this year's team for UConn. They just all play team basketball. They're all kind of role players. Even their best offensive players are really good at one area of how they play. They're all bought in and they all do their own role. And like Dan Hurley gets the most out of each player on the team. Like with Greg Gard, it didn't seem like that was the case whatsoever. But I don't know. I'm curious to see that myself. But it was pretty disappointing. Like I said, they just weren't ready to go. The game plan was shit.
Yeah.
Any other ones?
I don't have anything from the previous games. No. I mean, I tweeted about Colorado. Like, I was very pleasantly surprised with that. Like, I don't want to call it a run, but they won 3 games. Like, they had to play the play-in, like, and they beat pretty quality teams.
They beat a really good Florida team.
Beat a really good Florida team.
Yeah, Todd.
What's his name? Very solid Boise State team. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very well coached. Boise State, same thing.
And they were in it with Marquette, like wire to wire. I mean, that game was truly like wire to wire.
Well, they looked really slow to start, but I think that was more so Colorado was playing a little bit like a normal team, and Marquette hit every shot they took. It seemed like they
shot 68% in the first half.
Yeah, they didn't miss it too. I think they were 11 for 11 on layups. Like they did not miss not a shot that wasn't a 3-pointer. So
yeah,
a good defensive adjustment too. So like they look good.
Yeah, they're a team that like to me wasn't extremely talented. Like I like they just matched up well with a lot of teams. Like the like that's been the issue for them in the past is like, oh, they're really talented, but if they match up against a team like typically the example I would always use is Arizona because Arizona typically has really good centers like historically. And that would always be the case with them. It would be like, we're fine until we match up with Arizona and we just get bodied down low.
Which is weird because I feel like they're a longer team across the board.
They are this year.
Doesn't De Silva play the 3 and he's like 6'8", like 6'9"? He's a big kid. Eddie Lampkin helped with inside. Like that was a good transfer.
Happy about that.
That was a good transfer for the team. Maybe not so much on the offensive end, but he clogged the paint a little bit. He's a big body. Like, they looked really good. Like, defensively, I don't think they're ever really that good. But, like, that Marquette game was probably the best showing they've had on defense. Like, they only gave up 64 points against Boise or whatever it was. But I think Boise controlled the tempo of that game a lot better. I think that's why that one was low scoring. The pace of the game was slowed down. Like, Florida and Marquette want to run it up. And, like, the first 20 wasn't good for them, but like the second 20 was. They played well enough to get back in that game, and they were tied with a minute left.
Yeah, I mean they
Yeah,
were
that's what I
literally right
mean.
there in
Yeah,
position to win.
they played a good game, and Marquette's really good, especially with Tyler Kolek back. Like, I mean, he's the Big East Player of the
He
Year.
killed us. That was like the game. It was like
Yeah, that kid's
there was
awesome.
no answer for him. He's crazy, and that's really like I haven't watched a ton of Marquette basketball, so that was like one of the most in-depth games I've watched of him, and I was
Yeah, he's special.
very impressed.
He's
Yeah, he's
special.
crazy. He's another coach that I think falls into like that Greg Gard category, like kind of thing, where like, but he's
Colorado's
been
coach.
Tad Boyle. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like I love Tad Boyle. Like Boulder loves Tad Boyle. Like I just don't see them
Mhm.
moving on because they are consistently in the tournament.
Yeah.
But we've never made a run. Like we've had some really talented groups, and none of them have been able to break the seal. And I feel like at a certain point, and I think like especially now with Dion there, like it's gonna get overlooked. Like no one's like if your basketball team is
Yeah.
a tournament team and you have Dion and you're kind of like rebuilding the football thing, like no one's really gonna, no one's
No,
gonna line you and
the
play.
pressure's off of them a lot, and I mean, college football is way bigger than college basketball. It just is.
Yeah,
For a lot of the schools, it's not because they don't have premier football programs. But if you got a D1 football team, like that's where the money is. You know,
yeah,
you seat more people, you get more TV time,
yeah.
and it's. Well, I mean, Colorado got ESPN time slots. Like, what other Pac-12 team really did? A couple of them, like USC and UCLA and
Yeah,
Arizona
Oregon
did.
maybe
They were
had
good.
one, but
Or Oregon and Washington too. Like this year's a tough example because like the Pac-12 was probably top to bottom the best Power 5 football conference. But
agreed.
most years that's not the case. You know what I
No,
mean? Like yeah, this last year was an outlier. I'd say at least in the last dozen years or so. But yeah, football's
R.I.P.
king. Yeah, football's king. We still got some Pac-12 teams left in the big dance. Well, what
We
one?
do. I was
Arizona.
I was every day I was tweeting out the Pac-12 mascot picture with the record because they started out 6-0. The Pac-12 was rolling in there.
They do
It was a
every
good
year. I
showing.
feel like they
Yeah, it
do
was a good
every year.
showing for the
Yeah,
Pac-12 this year. Washington State, yeah,
Oregon just fell apart. It wasn't meant to be. Washington State, they looked really good for like 30 minutes against Iowa State. Iowa State's legit. They're good.
they are. They're really
Um,
good.
Arizona looks really good. Um,
That game against Dayton was crazy. I don't know if you watched that one.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
that was a good showing for
yeah,
them.
I bet on Arizona. So that one got a little close, but they look
Dayton
good.
probably should have covered that, but
Yeah, but they didn't.
they didn't. I
Yeah,
know a
they
lot of
didn't.
people were on Dayton. That was a tight one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that those were the only teams that made it, right? Those three?
Just the four.
Yeah. Or just the four. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oregon, Arizona, Colorado, and
Wazoo.
Wazoo. Yeah,
Yep.
so there's one left.
And they play Clemson tomorrow.
That's gonna be
I have
tough.
no idea what
It's a
to.
tough one for. There's a tough one for them. Clemson's good. They
It's a
dismantled
big
Baylor.
number.
Like
They
they
did. It's
kind
a
of
big number too.
yeah, like Baylor tried their best to make it interesting, but I think that one was all Scott Drew. Like he's a good coach. Yeah, Clemson looks really good. They handled New Mexico no problem either. Like too, I think that was a real,
Dude,
real trendy. The 11s fared really well. Every 11 won except for New
the
Mexico.
Lobos.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, the typical 5-12 this year was 6-11.
Mm-hmm.
6-11, yeah.
We got
Oakland,
yeah,
that was crazy.
and we have the national championship rematch on Thursday tomorrow. San Diego State and UConn play tomorrow.
I think San Diego State's going to bounce them.
You think so? UConn's laying 10.5 right now.
UConn's not winning.
As we stand.
UConn's not winning at all. Someone's going to bounce them. Like, I'm convinced
I agree.
they're not going.
I
I'm
agree.
convinced. Like our bracket, my bracket's horrible, but that's okay.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah, but I'm in like 10th, and 8 of the people in front of me have UConn winning. Shit ain't hitting. I don't know how they're gonna lose, but they're going to. A quarter of the country is on UConn. It's not happening. I can't get behind it. Like they should. the number 1 overall seed, are they not?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, like they should, but I don't. It's just something's telling me they're not gonna. And this San Diego State team is good.
Really good.
Like I almost think they're better than last year's team. They're legit.
It's gonna be a really good game. I'm excited for that one. I think that's probably the best game tomorrow.
Yeah, they're the only Mountain West team left too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Mountain West did not
They
fare
did
well.
fare better though. They better.
Did. Utah
Colorado
State won a
State
game.
won a game. Utah State won a game.
New Mexico got bounced. Boise got bounced.
Yeah, I mean it was they got 6 in. That was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the bubble teams got a little unlucky. Like Seton Hall's gonna probably win the NIT. Them or Indiana State.
Yeah.
And Seton Hall should not be in the NIT.
No.
Yeah, like.
Nor should Indiana State, but
Yeah, that's.
who am I to judge?
Yeah, but I mean, like, the Virginia was still being talked about. Like that game they were awful. I don't think. Hey, at least Wisconsin wasn't that bad. That was the worst offensive display I've ever seen.
Insane. I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I got frustrated and turned off the game. Like with 11 minutes left, I went for a walk. I like to walk, get my steps in. I was gone like 45 minutes. I come back and it's like, oh my God, they actually didn't score from the time I walked out to when I got back. I was like, what? Insane. But you're telling me like Seton Hall couldn't have done better than that?
They could have.
I know they would have because they're
100%.
better. Yeah, because they're better. Virginia's a joke. So yeah, that was disappointing. Like the committee made some pretty bad decisions this year. And I mean, you can't get them all right, but I think that's one where we kind of knew, like, you're probably not gonna. I wasn't expecting it to be that bad.
No, I mean, like, can't do that. It was funny. The next morning, my dad called me to talk about the game because he had stayed up and watched it, and he was just beside himself on how that team was in.
Yeah, everybody was like that. Was just a blatant oversight. He pointed out something interesting though. He was like, "How many kids do you think that are being recruited by Virginia watch that game and like cancel the visit?" Yeah.
Cancel the visit.
That's a good point.
Like, why would I go? Like, you watch that style of basketball, and like, if you legitimately think that you're an NBA prospect, like, why would you go there? Why would you go into that?
You
system?
wouldn't. You have to shoot 60% from the floor. Like that's how they win games. Like when they won their national title, they were all very talented offensively, and that's just not the case anymore. Like you can get away with that when you have the star power to be able to score whenever you want. Like, yeah, we'll control the clock. We'll work 25 seconds, and we're gonna get a good look. Well, I feel like they don't even get the good looks.
No,
they don't do that, and then like. College kids struggle making open shots, so how are you going to make all your shots contested? That 3-point shooter they had was like the only bright spot for that team, and he probably didn't even shoot all that well, but he had like 15 of their 45 points or something stupid like that. It's like Jack Golke was cool. I know his name now.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to play in the NBA, but I can compete with a lot of these guys. Kid shot 343s and 8 layups. That was the final tally. That kid's sick. That was cool. That Oakland
P2 grinder.
Yeah, that Oakland game was fun. That team was sick. Like that backdoor cover against NC State was so cool too. I had 6.5. They get the turnover, they make their free throws, and they give up. I was like, let's go. That was cool. But yeah, there was a lot of good basketball that was played, and I'm sad it's coming to an end. We've got 11 regular season games left, and then the NIT and CBI are wrapping up this week.
Yeah.
CBI tire. I didn't do as well this year. I think last year I hit like every game in the CBI tire. This year, not so much. But
I didn't really bet it that much this year. Granted, like I missed a chunk of it with not being on a book for like a good amount of time, but I usually bet like the last couple of rounds in the CBI and NIT.
I've been pretty good.
The early stuff.
Yeah, I've been pretty good in the NIT. Like I hit Seton Hall under. I've been on Virginia Commonwealth every game. I bet VCU every game beat. They beat Villanova. They beat USF. They're probably going to be in the final. I'd have to imagine. Them or Seton Hall, or Indiana
Yeah.
State. One of those three or two of those three. I'd have to imagine. VCU looks really good over there, and the under the radar tournament. But yeah, I'm gonna miss college basketball, even though this year was a disaster for me betting it, like complete disaster. I learned a lot this year though, like handicapping process and things to look for and things to not do. I learned a lot this year. You learn a lot more than you when you lose as compared to when you win. You really do.
Yeah, it'll be we'll be transitioning into MLB, the dog days of summer.
1-0. I'm
Did
undefeated.
you hit one of those early ones?
I bet the Padres in the second game.
No, it was good luck. Even
Padres
though they
win
scored like
hard.
40 runs in the game.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna blow it too. I mean, at midway, I check. It's like it's 15-11. 2 guys on, no outs. It's like, okay, here we go. They didn't though. They took care of me. Good job. But gonna have to get ready. It starts what, Thursday?
Starts
Or
tomorrow. Tomorrow's opening
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, my days are still a little jacked up.
Yeah, mine too. I'm all over the place.
Mm-hmm. But do you want to preview the next couple of games before we sign off? Because I mean, they've pretty much been college basketball.
For hoops?
Yeah, sure.
Clemson, Arizona. We kind of touched on that. Like, Clemson looks really good. Like, I'm surprised at how good they look. Like,
They both do.
Yeah, and Arizona looks really good too. Yeah, which also surprised me. It's those teams that got bounced early last year. Like they're back. Like they're back for like a vengeance.
And Clemson looked horrible in the ACC tournament. That game against Boston College was a bloodbath, and they look really good. Dismantled New Mexico, hung on against Baylor. Like that, Clemson owned that game though. Like the final score. The final score wasn't indicative of that game. That game was all Clemson.
Yeah. Arizona laying 7.5 though.
Yeah, it's kind of a big number, but I think Arizona's earned that too. I mean, they beat Long Beach. They struggled with Long Beach in the first half, and then they were immediately up 25. That was tough. I got a almost too good number. I laid the 20 with Arizona and pushed. I was sad, but it didn't lose, so that's okay. And then Dayton that game was all Arizona.
They had a response for everything in that game, though. Like Dayton, a handful of times in the second half, like cut it to 3.
Yeah, I will say it was very weird watching them struggle with the press.
Yeah.
It's like, Tommy, call a timeout. Your kid can't dribble. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? You were just up 15. Now you're up 5. Call a timeout. Draw up a press breaker. But Bio looked really good when he was out there.
They look tough.
Is it Pele Larson? He looked good too. Who's the kid from San Diego State? Transferred there. It's Johnson. Caleb Love looked really good in the first half. Not so much in the second half till he hit some free throws at the end. But Arizona, I think that's a big number for a reason. But then again,
I think so too. Yeah,
Clemson's kind of been very good defensively as well. I mean, they held Baylor to 60 points. Lobos didn't look good. They controlled the pace of that game. That's one I didn't see a ton of. But that's going to be a good game.
Yeah. Then we got San Diego State against UConn. UConn laying 10.5. Also another big number.
You know my thoughts. Like, time's running out for UConn. They're not. I agree. Think they're going to win.
Yeah. I mean, that's a game, like, obviously, like, it's tournament play. Like, you can say that a team will get up for any game, but especially for San Diego State, like, as the national championship, like, rematch, I think that's a big number.
It's 11, a big number.
I think they can keep it within that.
It was the same thing last year, though, so, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of the same result, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're going to see just as much of a get up out of UConn because Dan Hurley gets them ready every game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That's gonna be a good game.
they were up 30 on Stetson at halftime. And he's like, I wasn't very happy with those last 2 minutes. It's like, Dan, you're up 50-19 at halftime, and he doesn't care. He's mad. He's always angry. Good qualities for a coach. So
Yeah.
they'll be ready too. Like
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, he'll cook up something as to why no one believes in them. You know,
And then we
it's just
got
how he is.
yeah. And I think honestly on tomorrow, like I think the two games with the big spreads are gonna be the two best games.
Mhm.
Like I think they're gonna be far and out better than the next two.
Mhm.
Alabama playing North Carolina, Carolina laying 4.5. I You know how I feel about Alabama. I think they're
Yeah,
top
but
of the
they look good. Like they finally won
do.
a game where they weren't hitting those shots.
I
Like
know
that
that's
Grand
what.
Canyon game was ugly. It's like they proved they could do it. And I haven't been overly impressed with North Carolina either.
I
They
haven't
looked really
either.
good in the second half against Michigan State. I think that was just kind of the talent showing. You know, that wasn't like a coaching thing. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, this team's just better than you. But they struggled with Wagner for a little bit too in that first half. They ended up pulling away late. But like the first 10 minutes they were a little slow, and I think that's normal. Like Purdue had the same issue with Grambling. Like Grambling they were trying really hard. But I think a lot of people are gonna be on Alabama, and I think you're not high on them. I think their time's out too.
I think so too. Yeah, and not that I love North Carolina by any stretch. Like I didn't have
No.
like even when I was looking at it, like I wouldn't have guessed they would have gotten this far. And if they did, I didn't think they were going to get past this round. But
Oh, I
I'm
thought so. I have them in
I'm
my
leaning this way.
championship.
Oh,
This
really?
team's good. Yeah, this team's good.
Interesting.
I
They
have
play
them
good
losing to
defense.
Creighton. Yeah, I have them losing to Creighton, but I'm very
Yeah.
biased. I love Creighton.
And then we got Illinois and Iowa State. Iowa State only laying 1.5. I love Iowa State there.
I do too. I see. I'm a Big Ten guy, and Brad Underwood always just messes up. Whether it's his fault or not, they just always mess up. But is Iowa State going to be able to stop Terrence Shannon Jr.? That guy
I
might
think so.
win like Player
They've-
of the Year in the tournament if they go all the way. Like he has been on fire ever
That
since.
defense at times is so suffocating though. Like we saw it against Houston in the Big 12 championship. Like that was a very impressive showing.
But I
I
mean,
think they can.
that's a lot of defense. I mean, Coleman Hawkins isn't going to give you a ton on offense, but he's big. He can move the floor. He's athletic. Terrence Shannon can do whatever he wants. He's been doing whatever he wants for like 2 months now. I mean, I'll keep the joke to myself. I won't say the joke. You know where I'm
Let's just
going
say
with
you're
that.
setting
He
yourself
just
up for
does.
that one.
Yeah, I'm going to get canceled. He does whatever he wants. So keep it to basketball. But yes, like he's going to be a problem. And I guess it just depends on what we see, right? If there's any bit of defense, Illinois is going to struggle. If there's all offense, Iowa State's going to struggle. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of they're going to have a tough
Whoever
time containing those guys on offense.
Yeah, whoever sets the pace in that game is gonna win. Like
Yeah,
if
100%.
Illinois controls the pace,
Yeah,
like it's
Illinois
over.
won't be able to slow that game down and play
No.
well enough in my eyes. They
I
play
don't think so
well
either.
enough slow. They play a lot of ISO ball to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're going to see doubles on Shannon. You're going to see other role guys having to hit shots. I guess I think I think you summed it up well. It's going to be whoever dictates the tempo is going to win that game.
yeah. Pushing on to Friday, the Cinderella, NC State taking on Marquette. Marquette laying 6.5. I don't know what to make of this. I've been so low on NC State, and they just like
they're
shoving it up
almost
my ass.
they're becoming like last year's Kansas State
Yeah,
for me. Like I've been fading them, and I don't think I'm gonna back them. Like I'm just gonna. They're not like making a Final Four, so I'll just keep fading them at this point. But they're good. I mean, I'm happy for the coach. Did you see like he had a contract clause? Like if he ever wins the ACC in the contract year, he automatically gets extended. Good for him. They've been disappointing, especially this year, because not look like this team. They were this good in non-conference play, I feel like, and then like ACC play started, and they kind of just nosedived.
yeah.
But it's hard to not like Marquette here. Just a win. I'm not talking spread implications or anything, but Marquette looks good. They struggled with Western Kentucky. They haven't been playing complete games. Right? They played the second half against Western Kentucky, and they played the first half, especially against Colorado. But yeah,
but they've been
the
getting it
clock.
done. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And
like
I think the
just
clock
crawled back
strike at
in,
midnight.
but yeah, I agree. I'm on that too. Your boys Gonzaga taking on Purdue. Purdue laying 5.5.
They look good.
Purdue.
They look
Who,
real
Gonzaga
good.
or Purdue?
Yeah. No, both. Gonzaga looks awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an
I
interesting one
guess.
to me.
Well, I mean, hey, I might have been really wrong on my
The
WCC
conference
take.
tournament.
Yeah, but I got the last laugh.
Yeah,
St. Mary's looked like shit. I got the last
that's
laugh.
true. That is true.
Yeah. See, they always win in the end.
Yeah.
Not the way I said, but Gonzaga's always got the last laugh.
I love that game. I think that
That game's gonna be
so
fun. But this is one where we have information on. Purdue and Gonzaga always play a lot. Like they've played in non-conference play. I don't know if it's the Maui or like that time, but they've played on ESPN. We got this game the last 2 years now, and I think they split. If they didn't split, I know Purdue covered one and Gonzaga covered the other. But this is one we got tape on, so this is one you'll probably be able to find an angle on based on how they played. 2 years past, right? Like Gonzaga's team is starkly different than last year, but Purdue's got the same guys. They're just better. So, we've got some tape on this one. So this one's going to be probably the most well game planned one, just because there's some familiarity there. But I'm excited for this one too. I'm high on Purdue, but it's really hard to back a team that's just scored 106 points. I bet the live under in that game, and they were being assholes. It's like you're up 40 and you were scoring with 6 seconds off the shot clock. Like, what are we doing? It's like, well, come on, Matt. What are you doing, man? Slow down.
I think he's in the fuck you mode right now. Like, I don't think he cares at all. Like, he's so out for vengeance after last year, and like
You
all the
have
jokes
to.
every
He's the
single round. Just
there are multiple monkeys on his back, and he's gotta get him off. Yeah.
Yeah.
This game's gonna be good though. I think this might be the best
awesome. game. I agree with that. I think
this is a nasty under look right here. This one's a nasty under.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah, I like that. Pushing to Duke and Houston. Houston laying 4.5.
This game's gonna be good too. I like Duke.
I don't know. It might just be ACC bias for me. Like I seem to be down. I'm just down on the ACC in general this year. Like it just wasn't the same conference as it has been. Not to say that the top isn't good.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think it's less about like Houston in that last game than it was about A&M just refusing to give up. They were down 10 with a minute left. Like Houston controlled that game in the second half. Like I think it was close at halftime, and then A&M stuck around for a few minutes, but then Houston kind of took off, and A&M just didn't give up. If that was a handful of other teams, that game wouldn't have gone to overtime like that. But I like Duke to maybe not win, but I think they can cover.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Duke had just about as good of a shooting performance as anybody has all season, for a team, for the game. Like, they wouldn't miss against James Madison. So maybe that's a fade component there. I don't know. But, yeah, we got 8.
We got
16,
one more.
One more game?
One more. Creighton, your boys, taking on Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee laying 2.5.
Blue Jays.
Yeah, I agree. As much as I have been impressed with Tennessee this year, and I'm pretty sure I picked Tennessee in this matchup in my bracket, Tennessee versus Creighton, but I think you said it. I'm pretty sure it was you that said it in our preview, our bracketology episode. Like, this might be Creighton's last chance at like a legit run for like a while.
That whole team's leaving.
Yeah. So
Alexander, Shireman, and Kalkbrenner are all going to be gone. Baylor, Shireman, and Ryan Kalkbrenner will be NBA players. I'm not sure about Trey
yeah,
Alexander, but yeah, they're gone.
I think they match up well with Tennessee though.
They
Like I
match
think
up.
that's a
Creighton
good
matches up
matchup.
well
I
with
think it's
everybody. Like they're
that's true.
legit. Yeah, they match up
Yeah.
well with everybody, and like Creighton's got the offensive talent to be able to, score in a defensive emphasized game.
Yeah.
Tennessee's done that in every game they've played so far. Like they slowed that game way down against Texas. Texas is looking to do the same thing. And St. Peter's was just so outmatched that was a bloodbath. But Creighton can do it. Like Creighton struggled a little bit with Akron at first. Pulled away late. Akron's gonna want to play the exact same kind of style Tennessee does. They're just better.
Yeah.
Oregon wanted to open it up a little bit, but it didn't open up. Like that, this final score of that game was really deceiving because it all fell apart for Oregon at the end. Because
Mhm.
what's that guy's name? Ashworth hit like 2 threes in a row, and all of a sudden Oregon's down 8. But that game went into overtime at 62-62 or 64-64, something like that. Like that was a slow game too. Creighton can win that way. Creighton can keep up with anybody. So I've been high on them for 2 years now. I think our bookie owes me $100 because I think he's the one who made the call to the official to make sure that he didn't or he called that foul last year. They should have been in the Final Four last year. You can't convince me otherwise. Yeah, this team's legit, and it is probably their last chance for 2-3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
I think the Friday games are going to be way better though. Like
as a
all of these
slate.
games
Yeah.
are good, but I think this Friday slate's going to be real kick-ass for sure.
Yeah. 100%. I'm excited. This will be a good couple of days to cap off the week.
Yeah, slow week, huh? Slow week.
Dude, there's like nothing. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's like nothing. Even the yeah, I mean NIT, but hockey slates haven't been great, so
yeah,
looking
hockey's
forward to
always slow Wednesday. Wednesday's always
yeah.
like a 2 or 3 game slate. But did you happen to notice how he got assaulted last night on Indiana State? I bet Cincinnati plus 3.5. It was like it was like double assault either way because like Cincinnati was down 3. They fouled. No, I'm sorry, they were down 2. They fouled. Kid misses. No, that couldn't have been right. They were down 5. Kid hits a 3. So now they're down 2. They foul with like 6 seconds left. Makes the first free throw, calls a timeout, misses the second free throw, gets fouled because you foul. It just happened. Hits a free throw, misses a free throw, fouled with 1 second left. Kid makes makes one of the free throws, so they lost by 4. It's really sad.
Yeah,
no, they were down 2. They were down 2, and he made both of them. That's what it was.
That game scared me from a betting perspective. There was like nothing that I liked. Like it was one of those games where I could easily see both sides, and I was like,
but I mean, if you bet Indiana State or if you bet Indiana State on the spread, you're a square. Like no way around that. You got lucky, but I would have gotten lucky. So like it's hard to complain, Like it was a tight spread, but yeah, you're a square if you bet Indiana State. You're a square if you bet that over too, but I didn't, so I don't really care. But yeah, that was tough. Only college basketball loser I had yesterday though. Did pretty well.
We're back at it tomorrow.
I'm finding something for tonight. We got some NIT action. Georgia.
I have not looked at the NIT.
Georgia's been good to me.
They have. They've looked good in the NIT in general, which is surprising.
I hit them against Xavier. I think they played another game in there. And then I got them against Ohio State last night.
Yeah.
So, winding down. Not sure how much of the CBI I'm going to do. High Point looks really good.
Yeah,
crazy backdoor cover out of Arkansas State yesterday. That was wild. Yeah, I think that's the final tonight, and then the NIT's in the semifinal. So we'll have like I might be wrong. I don't know, but that tournament's wrapping up But excited for it.
Any last thoughts on the big dance? It's Thursday, Friday.
Nope. Let's get after it. I'm excited to use DraftKings on Friday. It's gonna be good.
I feel that. I get so excited when I can do it on
I
a
know.
legit book. It's amazing.
All the games from here on out are going to be really good, but I'm really looking forward to Fridays. I think Fridays are going to be the best.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'll be driving on Thursday, so I won't be able to watch all of them. But Friday's games are going to be really, really good. I think that NC State game might be a bit of a yucky one, though.
I can see it. I just can't make heads or tails of that team right now. I refuse to. I'm with you. Like, I refuse to back that team, but
yeah, and it's not even like last year. I was getting super angry at Kansas State because everyone and their mother was on them, and I was like getting pissed off. Like, I don't get the same feeling with NC State this year. Like, they kind of just came through. Like, they didn't cover against Oakland, so I got them there. So it's like I'm not that angry. You know what I mean? It's like Kansas State just kept getting away with murder. Because like something stupid would happen, and then all of a sudden they won by 3 instead of 2. And I don't get that with NC State. Like, I got it back, so I'm not as angry because they did not. Well, they covered 5.5, but they did not cover 6.5 like I had. So, who did they beat in the? Oh, Texas Tech. Yeah, like they just outclassed Texas Tech. So.
Well, that's our show, folks. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Overdue Sports. We'll be Jake will be putting out his NHL rundown from the last couple of weeks. We'll be posting more frequently with picks now that both of us are back and betting consistently.
I'm excited to be on Call of the Pen episode 2. It looked cool.
Coming soon.
Yeah, it looked cool. The graphic
if you guys
was
haven't
nice
checked
too.
that out, go check that
do.
out on the YouTube. Like and subscribe to get all of the episodes. We're gonna be transitioning into a lot of MLB stuff after this big dance wraps up, and we'll keep plugging away with these weekly recaps. Check out the website overduesports.com. We are out of here.
I'm molded in these blueprints. Same place you parked your car. And you were always out to get me back then. We would play too hard. Lost in my back pocket.